A Senate hearing highlighting the dangers of unaccompanied children at the border. 4 people now charged in a very disturbing case, accused of pretending to be parents and sedating children with marijuana gummies. Brooke Taylor is following this bizarre story. She's in Dallas for us. Brooke?
Hi, John. Yeah, we have reported countless times on the hundreds of thousands of unaccompanied children who crossed the border during the Biden administration, and then they were released to unvetted sponsors. Well, in this case, the smugglers went right through the Border Patrol checkpoints, pretended to be the parents, and also sedated the children. 2 U.S. citizens here and 2 Mexican nationals who are still wanted are charged right now in this smuggling scheme. Officials say that they smuggled children as young as 5 to 13 years old from Juarez, Mexico into the U.S. between May 2024 and October 2024. Pictures from court documents show the suspects at Border Patrol checkpoints posing as the children's parents by showing fake U.S. documents. The smugglers are accused of using gummies laced with marijuana to sedate these children, and in at least one case, a child was sent to the hospital.
We've seen everything from Benadryl to now these gummies being used to be able to sedate the children. And that way they're less likely to answer questions or provide anything that's going to be inconsistent or contrary to what the smuggler is saying.
Court documents include text messages to the suspect translated to English. Quote, "Young lady, are you working today? I have a boy 7 and 8. They are small." Another text says, quote, "Also, Fanny, I have 2 little girls ages 4 and 5. Proof of life pictures of some of the children were found on the suspect's phones. Special Agent Stevens says the parents trust the smugglers to deliver their children to family members in the U.S. despite the significant risks.
These children are nothing more than currency to the criminals and to the criminal organizations. And so for us, we want to ensure that we interdict this and stop this before they get here, because there are instances where we find children that are in stash houses.
And HSI El Paso says the smugglers were charging $900 per child. They're still investigating to see how many children were smuggled through this specific organization, John.
Yeah, we know that about 320,000 of them were lost track of. So we hope and we pray that they're okay. Brooke Taylor for us. Brooke, thank you. Sandra?
Let's get an update on that, bringing in the Trump border czar, Tom Homan. We'll start there. Tom, thank you so much for being here. On the search for unaccompanied minors missing from the Biden administration, this is per the Senate Judiciary Committee. These numbers are staggering. 320,000 children lost track of. 22,000, we are told, have been located, and 400 plus sponsor arrests. Can you give us an update on those efforts?
Well, it's just under 25,000 found so far. Look, when President Trump called me to come back from retirement, he told me they wanted me to do 3 things: secure the border, run the largest deportation operation this country's seen, and third, find over 300,000 missing children. And that was priority 1. So they've already located just under 25,000. Some of these children were found with parents just hiding because they don't want to be deported. But many were in sex trafficking. Many we found in forced labor. Slavery. I mean, forced to work ungodly hours, not going to school, working ungodly hours, and of course not getting paid, being abused. So, we've rescued thousands of children, and President Trump is committed, I'm committed, that we're not going to stop looking for these children until we find every single one of them or run down the leads. And unfortunately, 27 of these children have since died. So we're not giving up. This is the main priority for the Trump administration. We're going to keep going at it.
It's heartbreaking, some of the stories. And Chris Clem, the former Border Patrol chief, was testifying at the Senate hearing yesterday, speaking about the safest point many of these children were in the immigration process was when they were in the hands of Border Patrol, Tom. Listen.
Oftentimes, the safest a child has been in that journey is with the Border Patrol. And a Border Patrol station is no place for a child. I also observed that if a sponsor applications met the minimum requirements or appeared to make the effort, it was generally acceptable. The follow-up and verification and vetting process sponsors was abysmal.
But as we know, during that time and under the last administration, there was not a discouragement of people, embarking on that dangerous journey. And to hear him say the safest point they ever were was in the hands of the Border Patrol, Tom.
I agree with 100%. Look, I looked at the data. Chris is one of the guys I brought to D.C. I looked at the data the other day. Over 1,700 children under the age of 14 were released to unvetted sponsors with no home study. I mean, I don't know what the hell Biden administration was thinking. They stopped DNA testing. Trump administration did DNA testing. We're doing DNA testing now if they come across. So we're making sure that anybody comes pick that child up is clearly vetted and a relative. And that's what the Trump administration has promised to do. But when Secretary Mayorkas, Secretary Becerra is running HHS, he stood on stage. I watched him speak several times, bragging how quick these children are released from government custody to sponsors. Their main focus, both on the border and with these children, process quick, release quick. Because if there's no overcrowding, there's nothing to see. We can keep claiming the border secure. They release these children in a matter of days without proper vetting. So they didn't do due diligence, and that's why there's over 300,000 missing children, and they're hard to find because children don't have a footprint, right? They don't own a car, own a home, have credit cards. We can find you. We can find me because we have a digital footprint. Yeah. Children don't have a digital footprint. So we got to count on the digital footprint of the person they released them to. And many of them weren't fingerprinted. Their IDs weren't validated. There's home checks. So now we're going out looking for these children. Some of the addresses are churches. Some are grocery stores. Some are parking lots and car washes. It's a lot of work, but we're not giving up until we find and run down every lead that we got. President Trump's committed to that. I'm committed to that, and that's what we're going to do.
God bless those who are engaged in that process of finding these children. I want to finish off with President Trump's remarks on immigration earlier at that news conference today. Listen.
What I saw happening with millions of people pouring into our country, I couldn't stand to watch it. It destroys countries from within, and we're actually now removing a lot of the people that came into our country. It's a very hard chore.
I've got about 15 seconds left, Tom. Please do give us your final thoughts as the president. You can surely hear in his voice, this is absolute priority.
The greatest president of my lifetime. He proves it every day. In 7 weeks, we have the most secure border in history of this nation. We did in 7 weeks, the men and women of the Border Patrol, President Trump did in 7 weeks give us the most secure border in history of this nation, what Biden couldn't or wouldn't do in 4 years.
Sir, always appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.